Hello all, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how I use self-motivation over willpower. Now, what I'm defining willpower as being when you have to do something you don't want to do. Now, I know that people have been trying for decades to try to avoid doing what they don't want to do. I myself used to be a procrastinator who would spend hours telling myself, oh, I should do this, but I want to do this instead. And then I would do that other thing that I wanted to do. But here's something I discovered along the way. When you use procrastination as an excuse to feed into why you don't want to do something, it just made the task that you needed to do that much harder to do later. Like, seriously, let me give you a for instance. Cleaning your toilets. I don't want to clean my toilet. That's not my favorite thing to do, but I have to do it because I'm the only one who can clean it. Like, I'm the only one who uses the toilet. I'm the only one who's going to clean the toilet. Like, I can train my cats to do a lot of things, but they don't have opposable thumbs. They can't work that toilet scrubber. But anyway, so I'm the one who has to clean the toilet, and it's not my favorite thing to do, but it's not going to kill me to clean my toilet. It didn't kill me to use my toilet, to flush my toilet each time I used it. It's not going to kill me to use the toilet brush on it once a month. So I use it once a month on some of my toilets, the ones that I don't use very often, so that it gets rid of that water ring. But the one that I use all the time, that one definitely has to be done every couple of weeks. So every couple of weeks, I put the solution in, I swirl it around, I flush the toilet. Oh, look, it's a clean toilet. I get to move on with my life. I discovered that procrastination and willpower were just making the task harder for me to accomplish, to get to. It was, especially when I told myself I had to use willpower to get it done, it was reinforcing the fact that I didn't want to do it. And that was just making it harder. So that instead of washing my toilets every couple of weeks or a month or once a month at the latest, I was avoiding my toilets for like 3-4 months. And then when I finally got to scrubbing the toilet, it was a lot harder. That's what I noticed procrastination was doing for me, is that not only was I constantly being stressed out every time I looked at my toilet going, oh, I should clean my toilet, I just don't want it today, and then I'd look away from it. The amount of times that I kept saying that to myself over and over and over again, the amount of times where I'd be just sitting there and watching a commercial, and it would be a toilet cleaner commercial, and I'm like, oh geez, yeah, I should clean my toilets. Like, all of that kept adding up over and over and over again. And it took longer than actually cleaning my toilets. So I stopped being a procrastinator and I started looking at my tasks differently. So I started being a self-motivator. I started looking at my motivation. What is the motivation behind cleaning the toilet? I want a clean toilet. I don't want a stinky bathroom. I don't want a company to come over and ask, oh, can I use your bathroom? And me have to worry like, oh God, they're going to lift the toilet lid and they're going to see that disaster in there, like, ooh, wait, I'd like to clean my toilet before you use it type of situation. It's not always possible, and it's definitely embarrassing. So I just do it now, because, and when I'm doing it, and all I'm thinking about is, as soon as I'm done this, I get to do what I really want to do. Another way I use self-motivation is by measuring the progress that I make. Not in cleaning toilets. We're going to move to a different topic. Because there's not much. It's like it's clean. There you go. That's your measurement. It's no longer dirty. Let's talk about the goal that I set for myself a couple weeks ago, that a couple videos ago, that I told you about changing a habit, where I wanted to run 5 kilometers and I was going to start with 2 kilometers. Well, I have started running and I've started doing 2 kilometers, but I don't run the whole 2 kilometers. I run as much as I can, and then when I need a break from running, I speed walk. I don't let myself just stop completely. I keep walking. And then once I have my breath under control and I feel a little bit arrested, I start running again. So a way for me to measure my success, to fall in love with the progress, is that I originally told you that I knew that I was only going to need to add another 10 minutes to my time at the gym in order to go from 1 kilometer to 2 kilometers. Now, I thought maybe I was over exaggerating that extra 10 minutes until I realized it had been a couple months since I had actually jumped on the treadmill and run a kilometer. So when I did that video, I mentioned that I could run a kilometer, no problem, and it was 2 kilometers that challenged me. Actually, I had taken a couple of months off, and it was kind of difficult to run a kilometer. I was able to run half a kilometer, no problem, and then after that, it was like, ooh, this is getting a little harder than I thought. So I measured the time that it took me to get to the 2 kilometer mark, the 1.2 miles on my treadmill, and it was 19 minutes. I was like, oh, crap, that's a long time, but okay. I said I was probably going to add 10 minutes onto my time, and it did, 9 minutes. So then the next time I went, I checked the time, and it was 18:18 that it took in order to reach that 1.2 mile marker on the treadmill. I was very happy with myself because that's already progress. I've already shaved off almost 40 minutes, almost 40 seconds off of my time of running. So then this last time I went, I was down to 16:20 to get 1.2 miles, 2 kilometers. I'm so happy with that. I really am, because now I'm shaving much more time off of my pace. Once I'm able to comfortably run 2 kilometers, then my next goal is going to show up, 3 kilometers. And I'm so excited about that because I'm already on my way. So what I've learned to do is track my progress in order to be able to see my progress. The one thing I've noticed is that when it comes to work, it's a lot easier to set goals and reach those goals, those milestones of goals, because they've been set up by the company that you work for. But when it comes to personal goals, you got to do it yourself. You got to set up those mile markers. So that's what I did. And that's very motivating to me. I decided that, okay, every time I go to the gym, I got to jump on that treadmill. And now that I'm back to the gym and I'm going on a more regular basis, I'm finding that running at the beginning is becoming easier because I'm tracking that progress. I'm making those milestones work for me. I'm setting up a plan and I'm following the plan and I'm loving the results of it. So when I set any type of goal for myself, whenever I want to do anything, like for instance, when I wanted to give up sugar, which was the hardest thing I've had to give up to date. I mean, for a little while there, I was a daily Mary Jane friend of Mary Jane's, or whatever you want to call it. It's Canadian. If you'll know, you know. I was a daily user and I had to give that up. And the first week was really hard because I was nauseated the whole week. And the second week I was really tired. But it only took a couple weeks and I've actually been off of it for about 2 months now. And I have no desire to go back onto it, especially not as a daily user. I do know that because of my sugar addiction, the chances of me getting back onto it and becoming a daily user again are pretty high. I actually supplemented some of my sugar habit with Mary Jane. But now that I've gotten rid of Mary Jane also, I've noticed that I am sleeping better, I am eating better. I can actually remember my dreams. They're very weird dreams, but I remember my dreams these days. But anyway, when it came to sugar, the way that I could measure it was how long it would take me to go in between sugar cravings. How could I be around sugar without having to worry about it? For a little while there, a family member had moved in and was a roommate of mine. They've since moved out. But when they were living here, they had a different diet than I did. They especially weren't following the no sugar rule. So there was sugar and sweets in my house. And I wasn't even tempted by them. That's how I knew that I was completely over my sugar addiction, was because I could be around it and not need it. It wouldn't be talking to me. If you know, you know. So now when I have an especially bad day and I'm having an especially emotional time in my life and I find myself thinking about sugary sweets, I can stop myself and I can say, wait, I know that if I take this sweet, if I take this sugar into my system, it's going to make me feel worse, not better. It's not what I want. It's a comfort, but it's not what I want. So, measuring, these are different ways that you can measure your own success. The one thing that a lot of people don't do in personal relationships and in their own lifestyle and nutrition journey is know how to set goals and how to move those goalposts once you've set that goal. Got to admit, I used to be a procrastinator who hated to set these goals, who tried to use the power of my will to do anything, and I was failing myself over and over and over again. Now that I use self motivation, one of the key motivators is remembering what I've accomplished. So when I sit there and I went to a boxing class last week and this week, and the first time, it had been the first time in months. And I was dreading going. I was like, oh, it's gonna be hard. But I finally went. And I have to admit, they had this giant clock on the wall, and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, what time is it? Oh my God. I've been here for 40 minutes. There's still 20 minutes left of the class. Like, there are times when I'll be sitting there going, if I can do 40 minutes, I can do 20 minutes. So I've learned how to motivate myself by having little catchphrases that I use on a regular basis. In my living room, I have a poster on the wall that's been framed, and it says, "Nothing changes if nothing changes." Think about that. It's so true. Nothing changes if nothing changes. That is a huge motivator for me. Some might even call it an anchor, something that I can stare at on a regular basis that can remind me that I have goals that I want to reach. I have personal accountability that I want to give myself in order to motivate myself, to move myself, so that when I sit there and I'm like, I don't really want to do that today, I have to think about, wait, if I don't do it today, when am I going to do it? Nobody else is going to do it for me. This is something I have to do for myself. And I got to use my pride in myself, pride, not ego. What I decipher the difference between ego and pride is ego is what you think about yourself and what you want others to think about you. But pride comes from the word proud. Proud. The stuff that has you kicking the camera. The stuff that has you looking in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye and saying, I'm proud of myself. It's like if somebody calls you a liar, but you know you live an honest life. And that unless you feel like I have lied in my life, everybody has. But I like to live an honest life. And I will only lie if I feel pressured to. Or I completely understand the situation. It's like if I'm having a bad day and I go to the grocery store and the cashier sits there and says, hey, how are you doing? They don't actually want to know about my personal life. They don't want to know that I'm having a especially bad day. They are not a therapist. They are just a cashier who basically is asking, how was your day in the grocery store? I used to work that job. I know what they're asking. And even though there's a part of me that's like, you know what, I would love to emotionally unwind on this person and completely blah, blah, blah. I know I'm not going to. And I'll sit there and I'll look at them and I'll be like, you know what, I'm fine. Thinking to myself, you know what, I'm fine. Because in this moment, I am. In this moment, I'm not in any danger. I'm completely safe. I'm just going through the grocery store. And I found everything that I wanted. And even though I don't like the prices of the groceries these days, I'm fine. So I will say I'm fine. Now, am I going to answer the same question, the same question the same way to a close personal friend? Am I going to answer the same question to my therapist? Hell no. But this is a cashier at a grocery store. So I'm going to say I'm fine. Technically, that might be a lie. but I'm not a liar. And I know I'm not a liar. When I look myself in the eye, at the end of the day, when I look at myself in the mirror and I can actually say to myself, you know what? I never intentionally hurt anybody today with any word or action. I'm free. Any day you're not in a cult is a good day. It's a good day. I'm free. And I had more wins than losses today. Then I can honestly go to sleep and enjoy whatever weird dream is about to come into my life. So those are just some of the examples that I use for self-motivation. I hope I explained what self-motivation is. I know I tend to be a little scattered and I can move from topic to topic, but it's because I want to give you multiple examples of exactly what it is that I'm going through, because you can use it in different ways. It doesn't have, you're not going to use self-motivation the same way with one thing as you are with another. Just the same as you're not going to answer how are you the same way with a complete stranger as you would a good friend. So hope that helps, and I'll have more coming later. Bye for now.